Hello, today I am going to teach you how to think in English, which is one of the most important steps to becoming a fluent English speaker. Thinking in English is one of the most important skills to develop if you want to speak fluently and confidently. Too often, learners get stuck translating from their native language, which slows them down and makes them feel unsure of their words. But imagine how much easier speaking would be if you could form thoughts in English naturally, without needing to translate first. The good news is that this is possible, and today I'm going to show you how to train your brain to think in English using a simple, step-by-step approach. The first step is to focus on verbs. Verbs are action words, and actions are happening all around us. Wherever you are, whether you're in a park, on a busy street, or at home, you can look around and identify actions in English. If you're in a cafe, you might see people drinking coffee, reading a newspaper, or chatting with friends. If you're walking in a city, you might notice someone crossing the street, a bus stopping at a traffic light, or a child running toward their parents. Instead of thinking in your native language and then translating, try to label these actions directly in English. This simple exercise helps you get used to forming English words naturally in your mind. Even when you're alone, you can imagine different situations and describe the actions that would take place. This daily habit will help train your brain to process English without the extra step of translation. Once you're comfortable thinking in verbs, the next step is to focus on nouns. Everything around you has a name: people, places, objects, and even ideas. If you're walking through a market, notice the names of the things you see: fruits, vegetables, baskets, customers, shopkeepers. If you're sitting in your living room, look around and name the objects in English: sofa, lamp, television, remote control. When you're carrying a bag, think about what's inside: keys, wallet, phone, book. The more you practice naming things in English, the more natural it will become to think in the language. You can even challenge yourself by looking at pictures in magazines or online and mentally naming everything you see. This simple practice will expand your vocabulary and help your brain associate words directly with objects, rather than translating from your first language. Now that you have a solid grasp of verbs and nouns, it's time to start forming sentences. This step is where things start to feel more like real conversation. Instead of just thinking run or dog, start putting words together. The dog is running in the park. Keep your sentences simple at first. For example, if you're in a coffee shop, you might think, the barista is making coffee, or a woman is reading a book. The goal is to get used to forming complete thoughts in English. As you get more comfortable, try making your sentences a bit longer. A group of friends is sitting at a table, laughing and drinking coffee. This exercise helps you practice real-life sentence structures so that when you're in an actual conversation, your words will flow more naturally. The more you do this, the less you'll feel the need to translate before speaking. The final step is to move beyond individual sentences and start thinking in paragraphs. This means describing entire situations or telling a short story in your head. Imagine you're standing at a train station. Instead of just saying, "a train is arriving," describe the whole scene. It's a busy afternoon at the train station. People are waiting on the platform, checking their watches. Some are talking on their phones while others are looking around. The train approaches and the sound of its brakes fills the air. When you start thinking in full descriptions like this, your brain adapts to processing English in a natural and detailed way. This is the key to fluency, being able to think in English as if it were your first language. To make this process even more effective, try practicing with daily exercises. Spend a few minutes each day observing your surroundings and describing them in English. Pick a random photo and describe everything you see. Keep a short journal where you write about your day in English. If you don't have someone to practice speaking with, talk to yourself. Describe what you're doing, explain how you feel, or tell a story out loud. You can also set small challenges for yourself, like thinking only in English for 5 minutes at a time and gradually increasing the duration. Learning to think in English won't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, it will become second nature. At first, you might struggle to find the right words quickly, but the more you practice, the easier it will get. Soon, you'll find yourself forming sentences in English without even realizing it. This shift will not only make you a more confident speaker, but also allow you to express yourself more naturally and fluently. So, are you ready to take the next step toward fluency? Start applying these techniques today, and soon you'll notice a big difference in how you think and speak in English. Keep practicing, stay patient, and enjoy the journey of mastering the language.